Welcome to the channel. My name is Sammy, and today I'm going to be tier ranking all the books I read in 2023. Let's go. Okay. Got my laptop, my book laptop. All my books on. So I hope I did it right. I actually use a fellow booktuber, Sarah Crowley's template from last year on this tier ranking site because it was too confusing. So I just use hers. It does have her books on the tube, but I obviously won't touch those. I'll just use the ones I uploaded. Thank you, Sarah. So on here, Sarah has the categories. I haven't shut up about it for a reason, because that's like your most favorite book of the year. And then top contenders of the year, mid, didn't love but recommend. I forgot I read this, which that happens a lot, doesn't it? Not a fave, but was horrible. And 2023 would have been better without it. So let's get started, because this is probably going to take me forever, and also I am a very indecisive person though, so to choose which category to put them in is going to be hard. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so first book here. It's A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I think I know. I haven't shut up about it for a reason. Every single video I talk about it, I am obsessed. I can't wait to read the rest of the series next year. Just pretty much, if you haven't read it and you like mysteries, go read it. Just go read it. If you don't know, simple premise is a girl investigates a cold case for her senior project. Iconic. Okay, so next is The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley. I actually got this at my used bookstore, and I was so excited because I remember hearing her name before, and I think Sarah has talked about some of her books and Destiny too, but so I was really excited, and it was an interesting premise. It was like these group of adult friends from school every year go on a trip together, and then one ends up dead. And I thought that was so interesting. No, this book took me forever to get through because it was just so hard to get through, and I'm going to put it in not a fave but horrible. Okay, next is Better Than Movies by Lynn Painter. So easy. Haven't shut up about it for a reason. I actually have it right here. I love this book so much. 100% out of 5 stars. I literally read this twice this year because I was so obsessed with it. And if they don't make it into a movie, I'm gonna scream. But all I have to say, if you need a good, wholesome romance with teenagers, with a trope of, well, it's kind of like frenemies to lovers, I would say. It's not necessarily like friends to lovers, frenemies. It's more like frenemies to lovers. And this book has my heart. So go read it. It's so good. You won't regret it. Oh, it's so good. There's so many good lines. I love Wes. Okay. Next. Okay, so next is the whole Inheritance Game series. I enjoyed this series, but it actually wasn't as favorite as mine as I've seen a lot of people. Like, everyone was like obsessed with this series, so I wanted to read it, and I did love the riddles. It was really interesting, but it wasn't my favorite. This is about this big rich guy dies, and in his will he gives all his money to this random girl. So it's very interesting. She didn't choose the brother I wanted, so I was upset. I think I'm gonna go mid on, honestly, all 3. I might move them again. We'll do a overall thing, but I'm thinking mid. I'm happy I read it. I recommend it, but it wasn't my favorite. Okay, so next, Daisy Jones and the Six. Move. I don't get this site. Hold on. There. Haven't showed up for a reason. 100%. Like, going in to this book, I knew it was like, oh, a fictional band in the 70s. I'm speechless. I did not know how much I was going to love this book and couldn't put it down. Also, I was so surprised how badly I loved the interview style reading. I thought I was going to like get bored or confused, or, you know, I loved it. And also the series was so good. The music, still playing album on repeat. I don't need to say more. Go read it and go watch the series. It's so good. Okay, next. It's A Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood. I read this because I have read Love Hypothesis last year, and I did enjoy it. But I remember seeing someone saying this was their favorite one, and I was like, you know what, maybe I need to give Ali Hazelwood another chance, see if, you know, see if I like this one. I enjoyed it, but they're the same characters. Like, basic one, like the guy always likes the girl, and the girl doesn't know. It's just the same. It's the same as the Love Hypothesis. And I was like, I've already read this. And then at the end, no spoilers, crazy thing that happens at the end that like made no sense to the story and was over in 5 seconds. I was like, what just happened? So I'm gonna go not a fave, but was tolerable. That's where I'm going with it. Okay, so next is Mary Jane. I think Mary Jane is, oops, no, not you. No, I'm so sorry. Top contender of the year. Sorry, I don't know how to use this thing. Yes, Mary Jane is top contender of the year. I love this book way more than I thought it was going to. Everyone raved about it. I know, Sarah has. And I was like, what is this about? And I was like, I already read Daisy Jones 6 in the 70s. Do I really need reading another one in the 70s? Oh my gosh. And I'm pretty sure this is considered literary fiction. I am not really sure. I really enjoyed it. I loved reading about just a young girl growing up during this time. And I think it was so interesting to have her realize that, like, not everyone lives life like her family. And that's okay. And I loved it. I loved it. Definitely recommend. Next is The Agathas. Yeah, this one's about two girls who, you know, solve mysteries in their town together, and it's a little talk about Agatha Christie in it. That's why it's called The Agathas. I enjoyed the second one more, so I might say mid. It's good. It's a good average book. I highly recommend. Okay, so next. I don't even want to talk about it. Studying Charlotte. It's 2023 would have been better without it. I was really surprised by this book in a bad way. This is supposed to be Holmes and Watson's relatives, a girl and a boy, possible romance, and I was like, yay, no. So many trigger warnings. It says it's YA. In my opinion, it is not YA. So it would have been better without it. Okay, moving on. Next is Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. Oh, I think top contender of the year. I really enjoy it, and I'm excited to read the rest of the series. So excited. Okay, next is Halloween Party by Agatha Christie. I did read this during the Halloween time, because Halloween Party. And I have been on my journey to read all of Perrault's book by Agatha Christie. I have to say, it's a top contender of this year. I feel like this one was more different than most of the Perrault books I read, because this one I had to jump ahead a little bit. So Perrault was much older than he was in the books I was reading. And this one was, the mystery was really interesting and very unique, and so I recommend. Next is Last Chance Books. So I read this book because I saw Sarah Crowley kept showing it, and the cover was so cute, but she kept not reading it. It's okay. It's okay, Sarah. I get it. And it was bugging me, and I was like, I want to read it because it's about two rival bookstore And so they do like little pranks to mess with each other, and then, well, no. I could not stand the main character girl. Could not stand her. I couldn't. I was like, finish. I want this over with. Also, in my opinion, no chemistry. 0. So, 2023 would have been better without. I'm sorry. Next is XX. I would say didn't love but recommend. I wanted so badly this Halloween time to read a Halloween themed romance book with like witches and stuff, so I was really excited to read it, but it's just the story took forever to like get going, and then all of a sudden the last few chapters was like, done, move on, woo, and I'm like, whoa, like how did you, I don't know, I just didn't vibe with it. I definitely recommend it if you want a witchy romance. It was definitely a good witch romance, but not my favorite. Next is One in Rome. I'm gonna say mid. It was average good book. I love Sarah Adams books. Nothing will top the cheat sheet, but I enjoyed it. This one's like a pop star and pie shop owner, normal guy, you know, together. I enjoyed it. Good solid romance. Next is The Night in Question. I'm actually gonna say this one is a top contender of the year. I did enjoy this one more. This is the second book to the Agathas. I think it was mainly because I just knew the characters more, and I don't know, this storyline was very interesting because they kind of go back into like a cold case, and there is a couple that I want together really bad. So I'm waiting for that. So next is the Summer I Turned Pretty series. I'm going to say something controversial yet brave. Not my favorite series. I'm sorry. I enjoyed it. I'm happy I read it. I still need to watch season 2 of the series. I've only watched season 1 because I read the books after season 1 in preparation for season 2. The books turned me off of the series. I had no want to watch the series after I read the books. I was like, because like this series, I don't know what it is. I just wanted to scream at them. Like, I got so mad at them. And then like also like the ending was just like, okay, here you go. You get nothing else. This is all you're gonna get. Boom, here you go. Boom. And I'm like, no. That's not all we get, is it? So eventually I will watch the rest of the series, but not anytime soon, and I enjoyed it. It was honestly, I can't remember what happens in each book. Like what was the second one about? I have no clue what the second book's about. No clue. No. I would say, well, honestly, if number 2 I don't remember, I'm putting that in. I forgot I read this because I forgot what's in it. I don't know what's in it. Summer I Turned Pretty, I did like. I might put that in mid. And then we'll always have Summer. I'm going to put Didn't Love But Recommend. I'm putting them all in different categories. Also, too, I really hate her nickname, Belly. Isabel is so pretty. Whatever. Okay, next is actually the first book I read of this year. Is No It Goes Off Script. I actually read because of recommendation by Haley Pham. Thanks, Haley. I did enjoy it. I really did enjoy it. Very interesting storyline. She like writes scripts for like Hallmarky kind of movies, and me and my mom love watching Hallmark movies during the season. If you want Hallmark movies reviews with my mom, comment down below. I feel like I think top contender of the year. I started the year out really good. I did really enjoy that. Okay, next is 2 books in a series. It is the Christie Bookshop Mystery by Anne Claire. I have the first and the second. She got the second as the ARC. I really enjoy this. I love Agatha Christie, and so anything else I can that's been got Agatha Christie in it. And it's such a good, cozy mystery. I loved it. I might put them both in top contender of the year. I really enjoyed both of those. Next is Salt and Sugar. Haven't shut up about it for a reason. If you haven't read Salt and Sugar, go read it. It's so good. I just needed a good YA romance at the time. And when I looked it up, this is actually, I forget, I think it's based in Colombia. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know it's a different country. And it's about 2 rival bakeries. And I'm not gonna say more because I won't spoil anything, but just go read it. Also, if you are gonna read this, go pick up something like donuts or pastries before you do, because you will get hungry. It's so good. Love it. Okay, so the next 2 is the 3rd and 4th book of the Thursday Murder Club series by Richard Osman. Haven't heard about it for a reason. Every single book of these, I will say 5 stars. He does no wrong. Like, it's so good. I love these characters. Abraham's my man. But I love all of them. I'm literally M. Joyce. I love this series. Please, Richard, never stop making it. Thank you. And if you haven't tried this out and you want to get started in mysteries or you love mysteries, go read it. It's a group of elderly people in a retirement village solve mysteries together. It's so good, or solve murders together. It's really good. Next up is Once Upon a Broken Heart. This was the first fantasy, like real fantasy romance I read, and I really enjoyed it. It was a little hard to get to in the beginning, but after you read the whole entire thing, I'm obsessed. I can't wait to read the rest of the series. I think top contender of the year. Top solid. So excited to read the rest of the series. Next is Hello Stranger by Catherine Center. This one is crazy. The girl literally gets face blindness, and I found it so interesting to read a book about that. So interesting. I would say mid. I think it was good, solid. Happy I read it. Now I know more about face blindness than I did before, so it teaches me something. And I really love the romance and figures. Yeah, so it's about African American women working in NASA, and it's so interesting. I loved it. I love learning about history. I'm really upset I didn't read this in school. This should have been mandatory. This is so iconic. I love these women. Go women. Women rock. And also, right after I finished reading this, I did watch the movie. So good. So good. Literally, just go read this. So good. I think Rue's scratching at the door. Okay, he got out. I would say top contender of the year. I really am happy I read this, and also definitely top contender of the year. Highly recommend. Next is Meet Me in the Margins. Now this one, I just needed a little romance. You know when you're like reading all these books, and especially history, and then you're like, I just need a simple, easy romance. So I just saw this on Libby and was like, let's try it out. It was, I can't remember. I only remember a little bit of it. It was okay. I think it was like 2 people who worked at a publishing house, and she wanted to get published. She helped authors get published, but she wanted to get published, and then romance in there. I enjoyed it, but it was okay. I would say, I think I might go didn't love but recommend, because I liked it. I didn't love it. Okay, so next is Naturals. I am so excited to read the series. The rest of the series, I'm so excited. This is about a bunch of teenagers going to the FBI, and they have all these special skills. So good. Go read it. Just go read it. I think I won't shut up. I haven't shut up about it for a reason. Because it was so good, and I loved it so much more than the Inheritance games. Like, I don't know if I want to know who I am after I read the series, because then it's done and I'm gonna cry. It's so good. So good. Okay, next is actually, I just read this yesterday. Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. Classic. I would say top contender of the year, because I've always wanted to read A Christmas Carol because it's a classic. Literally came out in 1843. 1843. So good. So good. I do want to watch the Muppets Christmas Christmas Carol version of it. I do want to. But I'm happy I've read it. Now I can say I read a Charles Dickens. But, next. Okay, so next is Mr. Wrong Number by Lynn Painter. I read this because I wanted to try an adult book by Lynn Painter. Not my favorite. I like her YA. I'm really excited to read Betty on You. Still on hold at the library. I'm waiting. Yeah, not my favorite. I think it's sister, best friend's brother, I think, trope. And I actually haven't read one like that. So, very interesting. So, yeah. This one, it was okay. Let's say, didn't love but recommend. Because I do say, if you love sister, brother's best friend trope, I would say read it. Because I think it did do that well. It's just, this was the one where, like, there was a misunderstanding, a little mistake, and she didn't correct it, and so then that just snowballs into craziness, and it's like, girl, why didn't you just correct it right then and there? Because also, it gave me anxiety, it stressed me out, and didn't love that part. But yeah, didn't love but recommend. Next is Maribel's Shadow. Okay, moving on. Next. I actually read this in the beginning of the year, Midnight Library. I got this at a used bookstore, and I always heard people talk about it. Did not realize really what it was. It was an interesting idea of a book. I did find it really interesting. But it did most of the time make me very sad. Very sad. And obviously, I knew what the book was like. I knew where it was going, because these classic ones were like movie books where like they're like, oh, I don't like my life as it is. I want to change it, but then they go through all the stuff and they realize my life was perfect as it was. I didn't have changed anything, you know? So, not my fave, but it was interesting. So I would probably say mid. I would say mid. Because it was different than any other book I've read before, and I love that. And it was a very unique idea. So, mid. Next is Another Side of Paradise. This is about F. Scott Fitzgerald's alleged affair, and it was really interesting, but I struggled with the classic boy messes up, girl gets upset, but he comes back the next day and says, please, please, please forgive me, it'll never happen again, and she forgives him, and then it happens again. Over and over and over again. So that was annoying. But I did really love learning different stuff about that time period, and F. Scott Fitzgerald himself, a lot of things I didn't realize that his work wasn't popular when he was alive. It was more popular after he died, which was very interesting. I did not know that. And I would say it was mid. It was mid. Because if you don't like cheating trope or just cheating at all affairs, you're not gonna like it. Because that's all that this book is about. Next is Beach Read by Emily Henry. I wanted to give Emily Henry another try because I did read People You Meet on Vacation, and I did not like it. Me and Emily Henry don't like. That's the beauty of life. We like and dislike different things. Make us more interesting. you know? So I wanted to give her another try. So I read Beach Read, and I actually did enjoy it more than people you meet on vacation. I would probably say mid. I did enjoy it. Obviously, like, recommend, but, like, not my fave. Okay, next is Kill Show, which actually was an arc I got. It's a very interesting premise. It basically was like true crime docuseries, documentary in a book form. And it's fictional. It's not real. Really short read. It's a really short book. So interesting. Never read anything like it. If you like true crime, I would say check it out. So I would say it was mid. It was mid. It was very interesting. I literally was like, is this real? No, it's not. But, like, it felt real. Okay, next is Murder in the Muse by Agatha Christie, another Perrault book. This one was actually a collection of a bunch of short stories of Perrault. So I feel like that was top contender of the year. I really enjoyed it. A lot of the short stories, very interesting. And I liked him just solving little things that weren't necessarily murder. You know what I mean? So that was really interesting. Definitely recommend any Perrault, really. Next is so this one I chose randomly. Challenge thing at my library. One of the things were to randomly choose a book off the shelf of the library, and I chose this one. Murder in the Napa Valley. This was written in like the 90s, I think it was. I should have stayed there. I completely guessed who it was instantly, and I was right. And I just felt like I wasted my time. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so happy that he got published, but, like, not for me. It just wasn't for me. Maybe for someone else, not for me. So, to be honest. Next, I read One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid because I read Daisy Jones and Six, and I need more Taylor Jenkins Reid. But I wanted to try a run of romances, so I did One True Loves. This one's so interesting. Premise, it's a woman's husband goes missing, flying somewhere, and he's presumed dead for years. And then she just finally decides to, like, find love again with someone new, and she meets another guy she went to school with, and get engaged, and then boom, her husband is found. Rue, can you believe that? So interesting. They just did a movie. Still need to watch it. I don't know where I can watch it. I still need to find that out. But so interesting, Rue. So interesting. I actually read this. Now I'm looking at Rue. I actually read this when he was coming around the house. He was actually an abandoned cat outside, and he showed up at our door one day and he murs. He doesn't meow, he murs. He was murring up a storm. I go out there, I sit down, I pet him, and he curls up in my lap and goes to sleep. He chose me. And we did go take him to check and see if he had a chip, and he did not have a chip. And we took him to the vet, got him all the shots he needed, found out he was 1 year old, little baby. And I remember when we took him to the place to see if he had a chip, to see if anyone owned him, I actually was sitting there waiting, reading this book right next to him. And I will always remember that. So, book has a special place in my heart, especially for that. That was the day that Roots became mine. I think it might actually be a top contender this year when I think about it, because I actually really enjoyed this premise. So interesting. Because, yes, also I think, like, the girl family has, like, owns a bookstore, so that was really fun. Next is Maybe You Should Talk to Someone. So I actually read this for Mental Health Awareness Month, and this is nonfiction. Well, it's not nonfiction necessarily. I think it's technically fiction because she, like, writes it in a story form, but the author is an actual therapist, and then she talks about when she ends up having to go to therapy for herself as a therapist. So interesting. She even talks about some of her own patients, but she does change the names, so to stay with the confidential. And so interesting. So I would say this one was probably a top contender of the year, because so interesting. I can't stop saying that. If you have any interest in learning more about like how like about therapy or so, like just read it. It's so interesting. Next is the American Roommate Experiment. Oh, this one very interesting. How she needed help to like get, you know, write her book, needed the romance, and he just volunteers to like take her on dates and get the vibe of romance with the man, you know. I enjoyed it. There was one other little side story that was a little like, whoa. But I would say mid. It was good. I recommend it. But not like my favorite. But I'm gonna keep saying that. That's my theme. Is what I recommend it, but it's not my favorite. That's what I'm gonna repeat this whole entire video. Okay? Yes. So next is The Silent Patient. I liked it. It's not what I expected it to be. When I finished it, I was kinda like, that's it. Okay. It was okay. I would say mid. It was mid. I did enjoy learning a lot of stuff about how therapy works and how this girl was mute. So interesting. So interesting. Next book I read was The Grim Reader. I actually got this at the used bookstore, so this is actually number 14 in a series. It was like just a little, you know, cozy mystery. Not my favorite. I think maybe it was just this one because this one was, sounded like it was the only one that she like went home. I think the stories are in a different location, and I was so like, that's who did it. Not my favorite. Not my favorite. Definitely like the Christie Bookshop mysteries more. So I would say didn't love but recommend, because it was solid good writing. If you love like the, you know, well, those mysteries with like the cat, small town mysteries. Next, it's a Lincoln Highway. I got this at the used bookstore too, and it's like 500 pages long. This is probably like the longest book I read of the year. I loved it so much more than I thought I was going to. This was like half what I expected it to be, but and like how this author dives into a totally different era. So interesting. Also a little like thrilling stuff. I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but I feel like this was between, I think, top contender of the year. I enjoyed it way more. I read it so fast too. Very fast pace. I really think I read a 500 book in like 2 or 3 days. It was insane. So, can't wait to read more of his books. Highly recommend. Next is Same Time Next Summer. I read this because I read Nora Goes Off Script, and that's the same author. And this girl's name is Samantha. So that's right. I also read it too. I liked it. Conflicted. Because it was kind of like friends to lovers, but it was kind of like more friends to strangers to lovers kind of thing. And it was very interesting, but there's a lot of stuff that happened that was very unexpected, and I think I'm gonna go mid. I definitely like Nora Goes Off Script better, or that one more, but still very good. Still good. Next is The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. Haven't shut about it for a reason. Oh my gosh, if you have not read this book, go to the library and check it out right now. So good. So good. I love it because it's the bodyguard, because actually the woman is a bodyguard to a celebrity of some form, either a singer or an actor. I forget which one. Sorry. But what I love most is that the woman was a bodyguard, and then they had to fake date so no one would realize she was a bodyguard for him. So interesting. Loved all the characters. Loved the storyline. There was a little thing at the end that was a little like, what? But overall, so good. So good. I kind of want to read it again soon. Maybe next year I'll reread it. But yes, go read it. I also read that because Haley fam recommended it. So thank you, Haley. Okay, next is Red, White, and Royal Blue. I read this during Pride Month. This is about President, son of the United States, and Prince of Wales or something. I don't know. You know, literally different countries. Sons. And they hate each other. And then they don't hate each other. This was so cute. I still haven't watched the movie. I need to watch the movie. I'm so excited to watch the movie. I'm reading all the books. I forget to watch shows and movies. I forget. My brain. I just want to read books. I forget about them. I really enjoyed this. I did feel like it was pretty long. And there was some stuff that could have maybe been cut out, like little things. But overall, so interesting. Probably the research the author had to go into to get this mostly correct. Round of applause. So interesting. So cute. Loved all the characters. I would say probably top contender of the year. I really enjoyed this and happy I read this. Highly recommend. Next is The Alice Network. So this is a historical fiction book and about female spies during war, and it was so interesting. Obviously it is fiction, but in the back it does tell you like what stuff was real and true. So interesting, and like the props you gotta give to all these women who they have to, that would terrifying must have been to like be a female spy and hope you don't get caught or like lose yourself being so immersed in it. Insane. But loved it. Highly recommend. I would say top contender of this year. I really enjoyed it. Really got me real kicked onto my historical fiction era. So loved it. Highly recommend. Obviously though, if you don't like heavy history or historical stuff, obviously it's good, but I would say give it a try, because also this kind of like bounces between two different times, so it's very interesting. Next is The Seafarer's Secret. I actually got this as an ARC, a pirate's treasure that was like long gone missing, and then the mystery around that, some murders. Very interesting. Did feel like it could have been a little bit more on the romance. Wanted more, but it was pretty good. So I would say it was mid. Very interesting. Learned a lot of stuff about like pirate history, and yeah, and good mystery, murders, a little romance sprinkled in there. Nice. Next is The Personal Librarian. So interesting. Oh my gosh, this is about, I'm so sorry, I forgot her name. I'll pop it up. She was the personal librarian to JP Morgan, and it was so interesting. But she was an African American woman, and she tried to pass as white. So interesting, and like the struggles she had to go to, and the fear that she went through life with, scared of getting caught or found out, but also being such a powerful, strong woman. So good. Obviously this is fiction, so some is facts, some are not. Also, I think it was this one. Was it this one that they like talked about these real women who lived together during this time, and like pretty much everyone knew that they were a couple or lesbians, but like they just didn't say it. But they like lived together, were a couple, but like just didn't like advertise it, but everyone knew. And I was like, icons. So interesting. Okay, so this one, I would say top contenders of the year, because so interesting. I'm so happy I read it. So many times I was like, is this real? Is this not? Insane. Also too, the way that they described like the office that they worked at, JP Morgan and her, I'm pretty sure it's a museum now in New York. You so badly want to go there. I did look at if you want to see it, they do have a virtual thing up now on their site that you can like go through and just digitally look at it. So interesting, and I want to see in person someday now that I read this book, because described it so well. So good. Highly recommend. Next is Dressing the Part. I did get this as an ARC, but this is all about fashion in movies and TV shows and how it impacts even the audience, what we wear, and it's so interesting. I would say that was a top contender this year because I love fashion and I love learning about all these different shows, and also it even showed me shows that I never heard of before, and now I kind of want to watch, but I just my very long list movies and TV shows I need to watch. But anyone else gets this, but when I watch a movie or TV show and I feel like after I just subconsciously start dressing like one of the characters, it's how I cope after watching a movie or TV show. I just dress like the characters. Like after I watch Vampire Diaries, I dress like Elena for like months. Okay, so I got Gone Girl. I feel like this is just a book that everyone's heard of. And I know there's a movie still, I haven't watched it. I haven't seen any of the movies. But I enjoyed it. Found it very interesting. It really, true crime, love and brain, was obsessed. But wasn't like my favorite. I really hated some of the characters. And it's hard to read a book when you hate the characters, you know? But I know it's like, it's not like the, you know, the characters that like, you love to hate. I love that. This was just, I hate and annoying and I just like, shut up. I just, you know? So, but very interesting. True crime, love and self, loved it. I would say, even though I wasn't obsessed, I think I say top contender of the year because I've always wanted to read it. And I am happy I read it. I would say it was the top contender of the year. I definitely highly recommend if you do love thrillers or true crime. I do highly recommend it. Next, last one is Dumb Witness by Agatha Christie. Obviously top contender because any Poirot I love. This one was so interesting because it was this older woman dies and Poirot finds a letter from her, but asking for his help, you know, with something. But she wouldn't say what, and actually postmarked after she died. How could she have sent it if she was dead? And then there's a dog with a toy. That's a whole thing. That's what the image is. The dog with his toy. And so the one lady trips and falls before she dies, and it's blamed on the dog with his toy being left on the stairs. But was it actually his toy that made her trip? You have to wait to find out. Okay, so that's the last book I read. So here's all my books. Haven't Shut Up About for a Reason. We got Good Girl's Guide to Murder, Better Than the Movies, Daisy Jones and the Six, Soul and Sugar, The Bullet That Missed, Last Devil to Die, The Naturals, and The Party Guide. Top contenders of the year is Mary Jane, Define Rivals, Halloween Party, The Night in Question, Nora Goes Off Script, Dead and Gondola, Last Word to the Wise, Once Upon a Broken Heart, Hidden Figures, A Christmas Carol, Murder in the Muse, One True Loves, Maybe You Stalked Someone, The Lincoln Highway, Red, White, and Royal Blue, The Alice Network, Personal Librarian, Dressing the Part, Gone Girl, Dumb Witness. Mid, The Heron's Game, The Hawthorne Legacy, The Final Gambit, The Agathas, One in Rome, The Summer I Turned Pretty, Hello Stranger, The Midnight Library, Another Side of Paradise, Beach Read, Kill Show, The American Roommate Experiment, The Silent Patient, Same Time Next Summer, and The Seafarer's Secret. Didn't love but recommend The X-Hacks, Will Always Have Summer, Meet Me in the Margins, Mr. Wrong Number, The Grim Reader. I forgot I read this. It's Not Summer Without You. Not a favorite was Horrible, The Hunting Party, Love on the Brain. 23 would have been better without Study in Charlotte, Last Chance Books, Mirable Shadows, and Murder in the Napa Valley. Okay, that's all the books I read in 2023 so far. Tier ranked. Thank you. Another shout out to Sarah Crowley for having that template because I would have been so confused. That was really fun, and that's really nice to go through and like reevaluate what. Now I know what I'm gonna read next year. Hopefully I'll like them and have less misses, you know. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. It means so much to me. Happy Bookmas Day 10, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Also, don't mind me. I am in my PJs today because They're new print. They're clean PJs. I got into clean PJs, but they are PJs. They have lock, shock, and barrel, and jack from Nightmare for Christmas on them. I just want to be comfy. Okay. It's my ponytail. Can you see my scrunchie? I don't know if you can see my scrunchie. Whatever. Yes. Open the door. Would you like anything from Taco Bell? Yeah. Ooh. Oh, did you hear that? I'm gonna go eat my nacho fries from Taco Bell now.